28-yard line of Auburn. Bama going left to right. Bryce gets the snap, knee high. Looks, throws the fade route, near side end zone. Got it! Caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Caught by Ja'Cory Brooks in the end zone.
And Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
And Alabama has come from nowhere to defeat the Auburn Tigers in multiple overtimes.
Welcome back to Tide and Tigers, episode 20, part 2, or some would say episode 21.
Yeah, 21.
We're going to do a couple more things with the NFL Draft. It is tomorrow. A very exciting time. I love the draft. I loved everything about seeing these great college players going to make a name for themselves in the pros, seeing what pro teams make the right moves. So we have the NFL Draft. We're actually going to preview the playoff teams today.
Look underneath it now. It added it.
Yeah. So production things Chance is always surprised by. So today we're going to do the playoff teams and who they think we should pick. We'll do both of our top fives, and then we'll go start with our headlines. But I'm excited to see who you think is going to go in the top five. I know a lot of talk about Sanders dropping big time, bad interviews. I still think he's a top 10 guy. We'll see what your predictions are.
Maybe a top 10 quarterback, but not top 10.
He's definitely going to be more than a top 10 quarterback. So we'll start with headlines as always. Number one, playoffs have begun in basketball. NBA regular season stinks. NBA playoffs is unbelievable. Some unbelievable games. I'll start up with, first of all, Memphis, the Grizzlies. They have played some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. And Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder has not played good. And they beat them by almost 25 both times. One of the first games was almost by 50. So that's a shout out to how good the Thunder is going to be. I told you, I thought they were going to be the favorite to win it by a lot of people. I got the Lakers, you have the Celtics, but watch out. If their best player's not playing good and they're still winning, that's scary.
Yeah.
The big storyline I think to me is the Warriors. Jimmy Butler closing out the game, Curry having his big game. Draymond Green believes they can win the title this year, and it has the same feeling. This is a team that's won a lot of titles. Does Jimmy Butler coming to this team make them a title contender to you?
Give me a year that Draymond Green has not said his team's a
very true. But again, this feels, it's not quite Kevin Durant playing for them, but Jimmy has always carried teams, and he's never gotten to over the top. He's gone to
when he was at the Heat, he wasn't a carrier. He was actually the
whole team.
Like he had to make up for everything that they lost with LeBron and D Wade and all that.
Yes,
but it wasn't enough, obviously.
But is now that he's with other guys, like he wants it bad. I feel like this is adding somebody like Durant. They won in Houston. Houston's the 2 seed, or I think maybe the 3 or 4 seed. But yeah, that's going to be a very good series. They play again tonight. That's going to be a big game tonight. If Houston loses this game and they go back to Golden State, then they're going to be in trouble. But Houston's been a good team all year. I think they're inexperienced. Their young players really got hit in the face by a good Warriors team. So I think it's that's the 2-7. Yeah, I was right.
You were right.
So a 7 seed is got the lead over a 2 seed. So
that's crazy.
Clippers Nuggets is, I think, the best series. That was the one we both went different on. I went Clippers, you went Nuggets.
What do we have?
It's 1-1 now. In the series, they're going back to LA. The Clippers look really good. They probably should have won game 1 too.
Did we have our picks?
Yeah, go back to episode 20. We'll be show our picks, but I'm pretty sure you had the Nuggets and I had the Clippers to win that series. You're right there.
Jeez, there we go. Yep. Nuggets. You had Clippers.
Yeah. So that to me has probably been the best series so far. Lakers win last night. They're tied with the Timberwolves. Timberwolves kind of punched them in the face. It was an awful game by Lakers. So there's a lot of. There's one bad. The Celtics are going to blow out the Magic. I really feel like. And the Thunder are going to blow out the Grizzlies. But the rest of these series are going to be really good series.
The thing I think about the Lakers is they know they can win.
Yeah.
They know what players they have when they need to win. They're making as much money as they can by dragging every series they're in for as long as they can. LeBron gets cuts of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Luka's contract allows him to get cuts of it too for playoff stuff. So they're going to keep making as much money as they can. They say, hey, we'll lose 2 games early on. they won't beat us 3.
Man, if they're that good that they can lose games on purpose, and I mean,
not maybe on purpose, but just if they start to lose, they're like, hey, it's fine, we'll get them next week.
Yeah, well, like I said, to me, this is why I think the NBA continues to not change anything, because once they do go to the playoffs, everybody watches the entertaining games. The Bucks and the Pacers, they're about to fight every possession. The Bucks have gone down 2-0 with Giannis.
Yeah.
Lillard finally came back. That's another good series. So much good basketball. The Knicks, Pistons get their first win of a playoff game since 2008. Chance, we were like in college then.
Yeah.
So it's the Pistons. That's going to be a good series. That's 1-1. So a lot of good basketball, a lot of good NBA basketball.
Spike Lee's been waiting for the Knicks to finally play like they are now.
But again, they lost at home. They're going to have to go win a game in Detroit to keep that series alive. All right, switching to college basketball. Auburn. Chad Baker-Mazar. Leaving.
Well, he's in the transfer portal. Let's take that, because he can still come back.
To me, this guy is 26 years old. He played good. He played good against Florida in the Final Four game. But is the difference in $300,000, $400,000 worth leaving a team you've been and made a good run with and can make another good run next year?
I think we've discussed this plenty to know that, in my mind, no. I think that he should have stayed. He should have kept to his basically contract that he had. Like, hey, I want to win a national championship with y'all, do all this. And I guess just because you fell short, you feel like you got to go somewhere else and they'll be the answer? I don't think so. I think you had the answer with this team. You just needed to win better games.
So that leads me to Denzel Aberdeen with Florida. Comes off the bench, was a really good bench player. He's leaving to go to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Saw that. And I saw...
They're supposedly giving him $200,000-$300,000 more than he was getting at Florida. Florida was not willing to match. Now, Florida just got the Xavier Lee kid from Princeton, the Chinese player that is like Jeremy Lin 2.0. He's got triple-doubles, a very good player. Maybe that's why Aberdeen kind of was like, man, you are going to pay this guy money. I've been on this championship team. But he leaves to go to Kentucky. Now, they did win the championship, and he was going to be a starter. So, is it bringing somebody else in? I mean, I don't know. These are two different situations, but you got a guy that was on a Final Four team who was a starter that played really big for them down the stretch, and you got a bench guy who's going to be a starter, and both leave. Baker Mazar has not picked a school yet, but I mean, Aberdeen goes to their rival school. Like, it just doesn't make sense. This is like ETN going to Georgia.
Right.
I just don't get this, man. Like, the portal.
Money talks. Rivalries don't matter anymore.
I know, but like to me, the portal, they talk so much. It's not them paying the players. It's the portal that's ruined the game. That's what I believe.
I agree that needs structure and everything else. I mean, a friend of mine was talking about it while we were playing NCAA football last night. They left all of the NIL stuff out of the game because they didn't know what it was going to become in the next year.
Yeah.
The week before the game released, they literally said, all right, schools can pay players now. We have no structure. So when you can't even communicate things to corporations that are like functioning with your business, that already shows there's no structure. So I think it's going to dissolve a lot more programs than it's going to help in these coming years, and then it will finally be regulated.
Well, to me, it's just one of those things that I can't get over of like, if you're going to transfer, there's a million schools. Why transfer to our rival school? The Holloway kid went from Auburn to Alabama 2 years ago. It's like, man, go to UCLA, go to Syracuse, go somewhere. Like, don't go to our rival school, man. Like.
You remember what I said earlier on when I think the transfer portal opened for football was, what if they're getting them for recruitment purposes? Like, oh, we want to know everything about that team you just left.
Yeah, maybe
give us all the answers.
Well, not just that, but like you said, what offense do they run? What do they do?
Give us everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think the portal and this money is actually benefiting some of the mid-tier players more than the big-time players like Nico. Nico thinks he's worth more money. He lands at UCLA now. You see his brother's leaving Arkansas to go to UCLA, but he's getting like $1 million less. So he thought he was worth more than he was, and it backfired.
Even less. He's actually only going to leave with, I think, $600,000 because of taxes and everything else.
Gosh.
Like, his dad cost him so much in that stupid almost negotiation. But then I do think that it opened a door for him to get his brother to play with him.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been part of, I don't think they care about Madden.
Yeah.
I think they said, we want Nico. Nico said, all right, well, since I'm taking this and this cut, get my brother here, and he's going to be your future after me.
Yeah.
I think that might be the path he was setting after he made the mistake.
And that almost brings back to my point of, like, the core players. Like, let's say your brother at Auburn.
Yeah.
He's got Courtney Taylor,
Devin Ramerstein, Ben Obermonitor.
all these great players above him. Somebody like a
Anthony
Georgia Tech or Clemson's like, hey, we'll pay you $200,000 more than you're making. You can come start for us. That benefits him.
Mm-hmm.
But then there may be somebody like Jason Campbell who has a really good year. Is like, I need to be making $4 million. And they're like, well, we got Brandon Cox coming. So you go. So again, I think the core players is who these teams are going after to make their. It's like they're not going to go peck the head of the snake. They're going to go get some good in between players. And again, they're already knowing what money they're going to get. Where the head guys are like, I know what I'm worth, but maybe I'm worth more.
Or
like,
you think you're worth more.
You think you're worth more. And so.
Like Carson Beck and all that.
So it looks like it's almost panning out more for these second tier, top, not middle of the road, but really good players and not the 5-star players. Because again, it's just Nico's a perfect example. He lost a lot of money, and his dad's probably a lot to blame for that.
Well, his dad's part to blame for that, and then go back to what I just mentioned, Carson Beck. You remember part of his decision to go to Miami was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They're not together anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that should be an eye opener to all these young players. Don't make decisions based off other people. Don't do it. Don't go to college based off your friends, off your girlfriend, off your parents. Go where you feel right.
Did you see Kiffin what he said about Carson Beck? He's like they're paying him $3.4 million. He's like, did they not watch the game against us? It was like
I did not see that, but that's hilarious.
So all right, so
but back to the transfer portal for basketball. Auburn lands 6'8", Division II best. I think one of the best centers or forwards they've had, Elijah Freeman. So I'm looking forward to him playing and replacing what's his name that just graduated.
Johnny Broom.
Is he replacing Broom or is he replacing
Broom? It would be Broom, yeah.
All right. Who was the other guy that just left?
I don't know.
The older guy.
Well, I think there's still a couple that are testing the waters, and they're
he graduated. He's done Auburn Tigers.
Well, my chances looking at it was it talking about the center they have?
Yes, that's who I'm trying to think of. Dylan Carter.
Okay, Dylan Carter.
That's what I was trying to think of. He's gonna. I guess he might become our center because 6'8". He needs to be a center, not a forward. I feel like.
No, 6'8". It's not that. I mean, there's 6'10", 6'11" guys now. Auburn was a really big team last year.
True.
All right, so I want to end one more thing in college before we go to our last thing in headlines. A lot of talk about Sanders and Hunter getting their jerseys retired. When Cordell Stewart, who was one of the best players ever at Colorado, has not had his jersey retired. Cam's not had his jersey. Tebow, Manziel, the list goes on. And yet these guys who were there for 2 years didn't win a bowl game. One losing season. Now, Travis Hunter did win the Heisman. I will at least give him that.
So that is an accolade for sure. And they should award that. And they'll have his jersey hung up and stuff. And it can say Heisman winner, all that. But to retire a jersey needs to have a new standard. The NIL kind of ruined, I guess, glorification for doing great things for your school. That's where you should retire a jersey. Not 1 year or year and a half of showing out and getting fans in the seats. It should be he played for 4 years, or he won us 2 national championships back to back because he came here to help us. Not he got paid money, he came, they won 6-7 games.
I think it's the quickness of it. It's like, to me, it's like, you can't retire a guy's jersey who just left a year ago.
He hadn't even made it to the NFL yet.
It just...
it shows nepotism.
But it's not just everybody. It's just them.
Nobody
else has done this but them.
But that shows nepotism.
But it was like, okay, Travis Hunter won the Heisman, maybe that, but like, it just... I don't know. They're getting a lot of grief for it, and maybe Deion doesn't even care, which he probably doesn't.
He does, but he could care less what we thought.
Yes, but just weird to me of so quick, and when there's other guys, like I said, Cordell Stewart, who's a Colorado Hall of Famer, and you don't retire his jersey before you retire Shador, who, it just... I know Shador may have these crazy stats, the game's changed a lot, but the guy didn't even win a bowl game. He didn't even win a conference title.
He didn't win the Quarterback of the Year award either or anything. Yeah. So I don't think he is worthy of it. Travis Hunter is up for debate, sure, but both of them at the same time just shows that you're doing it because he's coach's kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's the nepotism part of it, and that is something that also has to be looked at and changed because this school is not going to care about them 15 years later.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be relevant.
All right, so last thing. I know, hey, this is becoming a sports thing now. They're owned by a sports company. John Cena wins his 17th championship in WrestleMania.
But you saw he tore into all the fans.
Yes,
right?
he did. He tore into all the fans.
They all insulted him about his hair plugs, and he said, "Hey, y'all are bullying."
Yeah.
In a sport where you beat up people.
Yeah. But to me, it's so crazy now. You're looking at these main events. Roman Reigns, Georgia Tech football player. Braun Breaker, football
all
player.
athletes.
Gold.
All
I mean,
athletes.
there's a lot of these players that are transitioning from football to wrestling.
Well, Rock did that obviously.
The Rock,
too,
obviously,
man.
too. And speaking of The Rock, his whole thing to get John Cena to turn heel, as they would call it, to be a bad guy.
To be the bad guy.
He doesn't show up for like 16 weeks. He was on McAfee yesterday and pretty much said, I wanted the spotlight to be on him. But this is going back to people. I know you're not a big Rock fan anymore, but like he just pops in and leaves and just, he
has his excuses for that, obviously. I'm filming over here.
Yeah,
I'm doing this. But just don't dive into so many things.
Well, then like he shows up and like, I want to be in the main event now. It's like, dude, you haven't been here for 2 years. And then he finally puts himself into the Cena situation, and then after he makes John Cena turn bad, he doesn't even show up anymore or at WrestleMania. And it's like...
That's where the portion of me that's always fallen away from him as a fan is he has such an ego that he cannot not be the star. It doesn't matter what it is. He has to be the center of the spotlight, and he can't be beat up more in the script. He can't be beat up more on the show.
That's why, so to me, it's just like, man, this guy is just, he comes in at certain times. It's like, man, like almost like if you don't come in and just show up for a week and then not show up for 14 weeks after that and like make everybody think it was a weird situation. But yeah, Cena wins WrestleMania. The only reason I preview that is because it's one of my top fives. This is probably two of my hardest Burgin's 5-star picks, but because WrestleMania is such a big deal, it's a 2-night thing now. There are a lot of athletes getting into wrestling. So it was a cool experience to see Cena pass Ric Flair, and then we're gonna do a little 5-star later on. So that is our headlines of the week. We hope everybody enjoys the NFL draft. We're going to do our playoff team previews and then give our top fives, and then we'll get our picks for the playoff basketball games. This is, like I said, really big basketball games going on. We've already picked the series winners. We'll pick the games for the next 3 nights, and I'm interested to see how bad I'm going to beat you this week on Tide and Tigers.